everyone. Happy Friday. Give this a second here to make sure it's coming on live. Perfect. All right. So today I wanted to hop on here. I had shared a previous post yesterday, I believe, on kind of the thoughts that come up when we say senior living or we say elder care or we consciously kind of go down that path, and what those thoughts are that appear and stop us from getting started. So there are 3 of them. I want to kind of unpack those a little bit more and just kind of figure out where people are with them, if those are the thoughts that resonate with you when you think of elder care or senior living. Let's make sure we're good to go here on Facebook. Okay, good deal. So, quick background too for those of you just tuning in. I started to share it on Monday and got cut off. So, Care by Christy, CARE stands for Creating a Roadmap for Elder Care, and essentially the mission is helping families avoid crisis through connection to a foundation, to the resources that are available within this space, and just kind of setting them up for success to get to those services that they would benefit from the most. And this has developed or been born out of my community representation as a salesperson, meaning I'm on the front line when someone walks in the door and they're like, "Hi, I have this aging loved one or a parent. I don't know what to do. Help me." And I've helped over 4,400 families in that space navigate this process. So I have heard all of the examples, the scenarios, the situations, the family dynamics, the obstacles, the things that are stopping people from getting started, and that is how this was born. I think that aging is beautiful. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but I think that avoiding this phase and avoiding this topic in this time of life is doing everyone around us a disservice. And I think that if it was simpler and easier to understand and easier to navigate, people would get started sooner. So that's why I'm here, to help you do that. So the top 3 kind of most commonly heard thoughts that people will say out loud or will come as a result of senior living or elder care planning is, "I'm not ready for that yet. I want to stay in my home, and we can talk about it some other time." So let's start at the top. I'm not ready for that yet. What does that mean? What is that? You know, that's like a commonly heard phrase. I'm not ready for that yet. Well, I encourage you to dig a little deeper into that. What does that mean? How do you know when you'll be ready? Is there a circumstance or a scenario that needs to take place for you to then put yourself into motion or to create an action for you? I personally would like everyone to avoid crisis-related decisions, and that is the hope with Care by Christy and this resource, but I know that still happens. Crises still happen, and we need to make a choice, but don't let that be why you're ready or when you're ready. And then, what is it that you want to feel ready for? So, do you want to feel like doom and gloom? Do you want to wait until something catastrophic has happened? And if so, although that's not my personal wish for you, if that's the case, you just gotta let people around you know that that's your personal wishes. I think that what people are waiting for and avoiding is aging, is just simply aging. And the fact is, we're all aging. And to me, that's beautiful. That's awesome. We get another day on this earth. We get another day to love on the people that we care about. We get another day to make an impact. And so dreading end of life and dreading aging or getting older, we have to shift that paradigm. It's a gift, it's a blessing, and not everybody gets it. So the only thing that I want you to be ready for when you hear, "I'm not ready for that yet," the only thing I want you to be ready for is thinking, what would make my life easier? Would my life be easier if, insert home care, hospice support, palliative care, home modifications, any of these things, would your life be easier if someone was getting the groceries, someone was hanging out with you for a few hours a day just so you didn't have to feel lonely and isolated? would your life be easier if insert whatever? So when you hear that from yourself or your loved one, I'm not ready for that yet. I encourage you to just dig a little bit deeper into that, find out what that means, and if it's the fear of aging, help them reverse that. And stay tuned with me as we go through this, and that's my mission too. So I'm here to help. The next one is huge, and during COVID and this pandemic, it's becoming a little bit more prominent, and that is, I want to stay in my home. I want to stay home. We hear it all the time. I'm gonna die in this house. I'm gonna live here until I die. You'll take me out kicking and screaming, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But that thought is fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting to stay home. And there's tons of resources that make that easier to do. And so I encourage you, you can. So that's not an excuse, and that's not a reason to not get started and to not create a plan and to not get your ducks in a row, is my favorite thing to say. That's not an excuse. You're allowed to stay home. You can stay home. However, I want you to have a plan. And if your plan is supportive services, home modifications, a personal emergency response system, a fall pendant, an emergency response, any of those things, or all of those things, will help keep you at home safer longer. I'm all about people staying home. There are people that have had their homes for 50, 60, 70 years. Stay there. If that is your end all be all and that's where you want to be there. But please have a plan, get some support in there, that they go hand in hand. If you want to stay home, what would make your life easier if? Because that's what you're ready for. If you want to stay home, but it would be a heck of a lot easier if somebody could come over, do some light housekeeping, prepare your meals, maybe just be there while you are showering or getting ready for the day, just to make sure that you're okay and that you're safe, and have that other person to be able to communicate with your family if your family's not able to be at the home with you during COVID or in general. So you can stay home, but what would make your life easier if? So the not ready yet, the staying home, we've kind of tackled those two. And the next one, we can talk about it some other time. So in the community setting that I have always worked within since 2012, that's been like my sweet spot. I loved it. That was where I thrived and was able to help a ton of people. But typically an adult child would come in and say, I'm noticing this going on with my mom or dad. I really think that they would benefit from this type of setting, or having some support, or having a community around them. But they want to talk about it later. They don't want to talk about it right now. They don't want to talk about it. And I get it. And I think that the reason they don't want to talk about it is because they have a fear of aging. And they think that if they talk about it, life is over. That's the end all be all. I'm gonna go somewhere and I'm just gonna be isolated and not talk to anybody, and I will lose my independence. And so we can talk about that on another live some other day, just of the benefits of a community. And I know that that looks a little different right now with COVID. However, saying you're gonna talk about it later, or they don't wanna talk about it now, we're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised later. And so my plea and my encouragement to elders themselves, and even adult children that are now kind of shifting into, I've heard a lot of times adult children feel like they're becoming the parent of their parent. And if that's true, then you need to be the driver. You need to be the one that says, hey, I love you and I support you and I want to do whatever it is that your wishes are, but we have to know what they are. If somebody has a stroke and they're not able to communicate with you their wants and their desires and what they envisioned their celebration of life looking like, what a disservice. What a disservice that we've done to their legacy and to our family for having to go through grief and turmoil and chaos and overwhelm, and also now having to blindly figure out, what did they want their celebration of life to be? What documents did they have put together? What do I still need to get put together? Who's going to be in charge of this? Who gets what? These are all questions that they're not beautiful. It's not, you know, what do you want for Christmas and what did you have for lunch today? I realize that. But they can be asked in that same capacity. They can be asked in a conversational way that doesn't have to mean, hey, I'm asking you this and we're going to put you in a long, dark, scary hallway inside of a nursing home and never see you again. Because that's not true. And that's not what senior living communities even look like anymore. So a lot of it is a mindset shift. I realize that. A lot of it is looking at this through a different lens with a new perspective, the fresh mindset on aging being beautiful, aging being a gift. I plan to live to be 107. I realize I don't have any say in that. I get that. But I think of the lives I would impact, the difference I could make, the relationships that would get to deepen and grow as I grow and as I age. And I really, if you have older loved ones in your life, I encourage you to check on them in that capacity. You know, if I personally love anyone that's over 85, I think that's like incredible. And if they're 90 or they're 95, I love that even more. And so absorb that wisdom from them. Ask them questions. Ask them these questions. Get to know them. Get to know what it is that they do foresee for their celebration of life, or they do have in mind. You know, I really want to be remembered for, etc. I really want to be remembered for setting my family up for success so they don't have to deal with this on the back end. That's my personal wish for you. And then my last kind of thing here is, if you had a guide, easy, simple guide, that showed you kind of an A to Z guide or an overview of care options, would you get started sooner? If you didn't have to go to Google and say senior living or aging loved one, send help. If you didn't have to embark on the Google searches and the internet, which, although very helpful, is a little overwhelming, would you get started sooner if it was a simple guide? If it was a, here are the 4 steps to get started today, here are the questions to ask, here's how to help clear your mindset, here are some resources to help you get started today, and here's what you should do to execute the plan today. Would you get started if that happened? I just lost my light here, so I apologize for that. But those are what I have for you today. I really understand. I've seen it 4,400 times, probably more than that at this point. But I've seen it play out where it's taboo. We don't want to talk about it. We want to wait. Well, what if it's too late? And what if we don't ever get to find out what those things were? The care course is available. I switched it up a little bit. I'll be re-recording it this weekend because I think that there is a way to make it even simpler for you. I think that there is a way to get you everything that you need in less than 30 minutes still to get started and give you a roadmap. So if that's something that would benefit you or any of your sphere of influence, I'll put the link here when I share this video, and I just encourage you to check it out. Even if you only make it to the landing page of Teachable and see what the course has inside of it and what it can do to help you navigate this, I encourage you to check it out. I would love any feedback. I would love any questions if you have surrounding this. Please feel free to put them in the comments below or shoot me a private message. I love all things elder care, but I love hearing someone's problem, hearing their scenario, and providing them a solution, providing them a roadmap. If you would benefit from that, please reach out to me. I would love to help you. I hope you have an awesome weekend. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that this crushes some of those most commonly thought taboo thoughts that are surrounding aging and elder care, and that you're not fearful. The goal is to remove the fear and to remove the uncertainty for this phase of life, this planning, and this incredible gift. It's a gift, and I'm so happy that you all tuned in. It was great to see you. I hope you have a great weekend, and I will see you soon.